What's up, team? Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through getting yourself set up with the General's Tent within the United Mind Cortex system. Now, the way I want you to envision and picture the General's Tent is to see yourself as the master generalist on top of the hilltop, overlooking the lay of the land, the battle at hand, and also having a background understanding of the entire strategy of the war that is currently in play. So this is where we're going to be looking at the big picture, the macro, and zooming in all the way into the micro. So this dashboard is going to include things from getting yourself set up with your missions, getting yourself set up and planning out your goals, and then starting to organize and structure your years, your quarters, your months, your weeks, and your days. And that's also going to encompass your quarterly planning, your monthly reviews, your weekly reviews, and also your daily tracking system. It's going to include custom dashboards for how to view each day, how to also set up and map out your weeks, months, quarters, the full shebang, okay? So this is really going to lay the foundation for the rest of the entire system. This system, in terms of like the years, the quarters, months, weeks, and days, these databases that I'm going to walk you through and show you how to set up for yourself, this is going to be infused. You'll find that these databases are infused throughout the entire template, so definitely pay attention in this video. Go through the systematic process and the regular process of closing out of all other tabs as you come in to view these videos, because this is quite head heavy. It's very logical at times, and it can get a little bit stressful and overwhelming, especially if you're not a power user in Notion. So I absolutely encourage you to get the phone on airplane, close out of tabs, take a deep breath in, and let's fucking rock and roll. Okay, so let's kick this off with the overview of where you can find the General's Tent. So the General's Tent is going to be laid out within the focus zone. So as you come here, you're going to identify the focus zone and come into the General's Tent section. So you'll notice that the template looks pretty bland right now, but just know that this entire, once we bring this to a close, your entire tracking system here is going to have a daily tracking system set up for you that's going to have a very nice visual of all of your habits. So that's going to look like this, okay? So if you select Monday, then it's going to pre-populate all of the habits that we're going to help you map out and go through in this specific module, but I don't want to focus on that at this specific point in time. So one thing I also want to note before we dive into the details of the General's Tent, this is going to be a multi-part video mini segment within this week 4 segment of the entire course, okay? So I'm going to give you, in this first video, an overview of how the General's Tent works, its core philosophy, walk you through how to navigate it, and then I'm going to break down additional videos that's going to support you in your endeavors for setting up your years, setting up your quarters and what the quarterly review process looks like, setting up your months and walking you through the monthly review process, setting up your weeks, walking you through the weekly review process, and then setting up your days and customizing your habits. So make sure to check out those videos, which will be embedded below this specific module. There'll be multiple parts to it, so you can open those up and check those out and use them as quick reference guides that you can come back to. And I'm doing it that way to break it up. Otherwise, it would be an extremely long video. So this way you can come back to it, bang each one of those out in around 20 minutes and make sure that you're on point and on track. So when you're going through and executing on things, for example, setting up your daily habits, you can just go right to that specific video. When you're going through the weekly review process, well, you can just come right back and reference the weekly review video that will help you fast track your development and your process as you're trying to execute on it when you feel called to do it, instead of having to go and try and find it in this entire overview video. So hopefully that makes sense for you. Okay, coming back into the template, what you can see here on the top left, you'll notice that I have this quick entry dashboard almost laid out over most of the template, okay? You're going to see it right here, but when you come into the General's Tent, this is just a duplicate version of that. So if you're clicking on new note, new action item, new stack, they're just quick guides. So if you're working in this current section and you just immediately spontaneously feel like creating a new note or action item or a stack, well, you can do that there. But this is not a core function of the General's Tent. The first thing that I want to take you through, which you would have got a bit of a reference on in the last video when I took you through Ground Zero, are your missions and your goals. So To preface, before even diving into your missions and goals, once again, I have to reference and mention that if you have not set up and gone through the process and the module within week 2 of designing your DNA, go back through, do the work. It's going to help you tremendously in then mapping out your specific missions and your goals that you can then put into this template to maximize the value that you can extract out of the utility of this entire system, okay? Because this system is really built around helping you optimize every bit of workflow and every function in every dashboard that's all resorting back to and pushing up through helping you advance your projects, which should then be feeding into specific goals, which should be feeding into specific missions that you have mapped out for yourself. And that is all derived from your guiding life's purpose. So that module is absolutely key to go through, navigate, and complete the work in so you can get the most out of this next segment within this specific module, especially when it comes to implementing the template for yourself in your own life. So a quick overview of how to utilize the missions. By the way, each one of these, they're databases, basically. So each one of these views, these are custom standalone databases. So before we dive into the missions and the goals, I'll give you a quick view of the years so you can see your years here. I've preloaded in for you 2023 and 2024. You've got your quarters here set up. So all of the quarters mapped out for 2023 and 2024 with custom views. So these are the quarters for 2023. Here's a custom view for the quarters for 2024. And then here's a database of all of them, so you can view those there. And by the way, when you click into these, I'm not going to do it right now, I'm going to show you a little bit later, there's a full quarterly review process that is already templatized for you that you can dive into. Okay, then we've got your months. So this is where you have the current view. So this will show you the current month that you are in at the moment, and that's based on the filter of where date is relative to today, and it is this month. Then you've got a full overview of all of the months within 2023. Then you've got the months in board fashion or a board view for 2023, and the same goes for 2024. And then if you want to see all of the months in a master database, well, that's where you go all, and you can see them all preloaded here for you with all of the different references within this specific database. Then when you come over to weeks, you're going to see a very similar thing. So you're going to see the current week that is in play based on a custom filter. You're going to see all of the weeks within this month. And by the way, when you see week 1, it's actually week 27 in the year, but I've created custom views and I've designed this to showcase where you currently stand within the quarter. So since we're in the first week of July, you're going to see week 1, and there's going to be 13 weeks in every single quarter. So Q1, you can see all the weeks. You can see all the weeks outlined here. And this just helps you keep track of exactly where you are within each month, so you can stay very organized. Then in Q2, you can see all the weeks outlined there. Q3 and Q4. Then you can click on a view where you can see the master database of all of the weeks in 2023. Same goes for 2024. And then if you want to see everything in one dashboard, then you can go to all right here. You can also check out a calendar view too, if you prefer that. So I'm going to dive into the weekly review process in another video, so that's not for today. But then you've also got the day dashboard where you will see the day that is today. So if, for example, if I clicked on and created a new one, I would say July 4, and this would where I'd pick a theme for the day. I talk more about that in building your life structure and your weekly structure. The date is going to automatically preload as the date that you create this, and then you're going to want to assign, what year is it included in, what quarter, month, week, and so on. Okay, and then you can also, based on the day that it currently stands as, for example, today is a Tuesday, you would click the template for Tuesday, which will then populate the nice custom design for you, so everything looks smick and sexy. And then you're going to notice that there's going to be an entire dashboard set up for you with a custom day view that you can work from for your day to extract as much productivity and make sure that you're staying organized in the way that you operate. So that is just the day view. Then you're going to be able to see all of the days within this week. So for example, what I personally like to do is actually insert a new day and map them all out. So you'll notice that in the generals tent, you've got your years pre-populated with 2023 and 24. Then you've got all of your quarters pre-populated. So I've done that all for you. I've also done all of the months for the next 2 years. I've done all of the weeks for the next 2 years. But you'll notice that the days are not preloaded. And that's because I didn't want to have a bunch of days in the database that you're not even going to look at, right? I wanted to only have the days that you are working with yourself. So for example, if you are just creating this template nice and fresh and you're then going to start to learn how to utilize this, well, I didn't want a bunch of days to be preloaded in the template. I wanted you to only create the days that you're actually using this template in. So you can go back and see like, okay, are you actually setting this up? Are you actually tracking every day? Or are there gaps in how you're organizing yourself? So that's where you can get a gauge, and all of the metrics can be calculated on the backside in terms of looking at your daily habit scores, your weekly scores, your monthly scores. All of that will roll up through the databases, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a little bit later in this video. But then what you can do is start to look at all of your days in your dashboard, and this is where you'll have the title of the day, you'll have the date assigned to it. The day here, this will automatically determine based on a specific code or a specific function on the back end or formula that I've coded in, that will automatically preload the actual day for you. So for example, if I say new and I pick the date as here, see how it just automatically inserts Tuesday. So you don't have to worry about doing that yourself. And then you're going to personally come through and allocate and insert the day or the year, the quarter, the month, and the week. And then you'll notice here, this is a full-blown tracker for you as well, where you can start to track and rate your energy, and your focus, your mood, your output, and then track all of your habits. So this is where you'll be tracking your core habits throughout your days, weeks, months, quarters, and years. And this will roll into like a total score for you as well. And I'm going to show you how to map all this and set all of this up in the actual day video that you can see in the sub-modules from this core overview module as well, in the deeper and detailed breakdown. Then you're going to be able to see your daily score and progress. I've got sleep metrics in here as well that I'll show you how to insert, that is customized for a way that works actually really well in Notion. Then you're going to notice that like you've also got like references. So these are other reference databases like your Stack database, improvements, notes and ideas, and training log. I'm going to explain how all of that is referenced in the day video, so don't stress yourself out too much about that. But I just wanted to show you how this day, a quick overview of the days, so you're starting to get a gist of, okay, this is how it all works. Okay, so then you'll notice that the core tracking, so coming back to the core dashboard, you'll now notice that there's a tracking outline here. So this is a custom view of the day that is today. So for example, if I deleted today, this would disappear, right? So when you open up and start a new day, instead of having to go into the general's tent to start a new day, you don't actually have to do that. So you can come in here and add a new day in for yourself. So July 4. And now you've got that there and you're ready to rock and roll. And now that preloads it in, so you can basically track your habits from the main dashboard within this Notion system, okay? And then if you want a quick access to your days, your weeks, your months, your quarters, you can literally click on that link right there, and that'll take you to the day database. If you want to access your weeks, you just click on weeks, and that'll take you to the week database, and so on for the months and quarters. So you don't always have to go into the general's tent. You can access it from this mini dash here in the master dashboard. And then, that's really cool because then you can quickly reference your days. You can see your entire outline and dashboard from this template and work from that space each and every day. Now, the cool thing about this is a custom filtered view of just the day that is today. So if you come into the general's tent and you add a new day, for example, like you're planning out and mapping out your weeks, okay, and that's going to be a Wednesday. You can now see that that's starting to add itself into the day dashboard within the general's tent. But if you come back to the Cortex, the Wednesday is not going to show up here because this is only going to show you what is currently active today based on the preset filters that are designed right here where it shows you a rule where the date is today. So hopefully that makes sense for you. And now moving back on to the deeper details of the general's tent. So now you can see here that you've got the daily will show you only the days that are within this week. Your week is going to show you, the weekly view is going to show you the weeks that are within this month, okay? So you can basically reference and map out and see all of the weeks included in the month. Here you can see all of the days within this current week that you're in. The months you can see, this is just a master view of all of the months within this specific year. So you can quickly reference them. You can see you can see the status of the months. You can see what quarter it's assigned to, the dates, and you can quickly see like if you've completed your monthly review for that month or not. And then you can also see all of the quarters here in a quick reference view of the year that you're currently in. Okay, now that you understand this view here, make sure to recognize that this view, this tracking view that you're seeing right here, these are database referenced views. So these master databases over here on the left, these are the original databases, okay? So this is the original database. And then what you see here in the quarters, this is a referenced view of that specific database with custom filters to change the view to, modify it for a quick view that would benefit you. And I do this and I design it in this way where you've got the master databases on the left-hand side over here. So that's where you can go deeper into the details. You can access all of the information available to you, based on all of these custom views. But because I don't want to take up space in the main dashboard, the way I've designed this is to essentially be able to access all the information you typically need within 1 to 2 clicks max. So you'll notice as you click into the general's tent, that's 1 click, and I've already got access to typically the view that I'm going to want to see right away, which is all of the days within this current week. Or the second click, which will be the weekly, the monthly, or the quarterly. That's where I can access everything that I just want to see for right now. But if I want to go and plan things out and look at the maybe like days from last week or months from, over a quarter ago, well, that's where I can now come in here and look at the deeper detailed views, look at the master database and start to, access the information that I want, but that's more rare. I'm typically only going to want to access the weeks that are within this month so I can plan those out and see what's up and coming and view those custom dashboards. And then I'm going to want to have a quick view of all of the months within this current year and not be exposed to like all of the months that are spread out over the next couple of years. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's basically the workflow that I design everything with, or that's what I optimize for, is as few clicks as possible and then to see the most relevant information that I want to see. And I do that through assigning custom filtered views. Okay, moving on. I'm going to take you through more detailed insights into how to set up, obviously, your years, quarters, months, weeks, and days in the additional videos. But for now, what I will finish up on in terms of the weeks and months, just to give you an insight into the capacity and the capability of this specific template, I'm going to quickly give you a run through of each of the dashboards that I've set up that are all templated out for you. Quickly, and then we're going to go into setting up your missions and your goals, which is like the most vital component of this specific video before you head into the detailed breakdown of how to set up your quarters, months, weeks, days. All right, so the quarterly dashboard looks like this. So when you open it up, you'll notice that I've already preloaded in a template for you, okay? So when you click on this template, it's going to preload in an entire quarterly review process and system that you can literally follow and map out and execute upon each quarter. And the reason I've done this for the quarters, months, and weeks, because there was a time in my life where like I just went down and started to plan one year and I was so overwhelmed with fucking everything required to plan for the entire year that I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to actually effectively plan and design my year in the way I want to. It's going to take me about like probably 6 months to set up a new system. And that's what like spurred on a lot of like my innovation and ideas for creating these processes, because when it comes to my planning time, I don't want to have to think about what the fuck to plan for. I want everything systemized and templated where I literally just have to like follow the process and not be thinking, am I missing something? Am I forgetting something? What else should be in this planning process? So for me, my templates that I've created for my years, quarters, months, weeks, days is all templatized so I don't forget anything. This is all about saving mental bandwidth to literally focus on just when you come and map out that, okay, I'm going to plan for these 2 days in this quarter. I literally just want to be able to wake up that day, hit my normal routine, and then come in and get to work and just, you know what I mean? And just hit it out without like coming into work and be like, or coming into my planning session while hanging out with Jenny and while we're like trying to, you know, think of the bigger vision and be like, where the fuck do we start? Right? It's so fucking annoying. And I'm sure you've experienced this yourself. It is the worst feeling to like be going through New Year's planning or like a new quarterly planning, being like, I literally don't know what the fuck to do besides like maybe look at my calendar and like map some birthdays out and map some like initiatives that I want to create. Because that creates so much stress for me. And I personally, just the way I'm wired mentally, I like to have extreme levels of organization. So, you know, it takes work. It takes founding work to get this stuff set up. But once it's set up, you can like literally take a breath knowing that there's nothing that you're going to forget. You just show up for your planning session every quarter, every month, every week. You just execute, you follow the checklist, and you get it done. And as you habitually start to get these things done, these planning sessions done over time, you'll find that your life will just become so much more optimized because each planning session will like help you build and perfect the next planning session, okay? So coming back to the template now, I'm going to walk you through this entire process in the setting up your quarters video below this video. But for now, I just want to give you an idea of like, you know, what's actually possible and what is included in this this process. So there's like detailed stuff that I'm going to walk you through here that like a lot of you are probably going to love. Okay, then in order to modify the template, like the quarterly review template, literally all you have to do is come over here and then click the 3 dots and say edit. And that'll allow you to edit the template. So whenever you create a new or a new quarter, you can actually update it and refine your templates over time. Coming back to the general's tent now. This is also designed and set up for you in your quarters, your months. So if we're coming here to July, well, look at that, baby. There's a custom template for every fucking month. So this is the master template here. So typically when I go through and I find like modifications I want to make, I will go in and modify the main template here, and then it's a bit of a bitch. I then have to roll that out into all of the other templates. And that's just because it's mainly a design function because I want like the templates and the icons to like represent the actual month that I'm currently in. I'm just like a bit of a design fanatic. So that's why I personally like to modify and have a custom template for each specific month. So for July, I would click on July and then look at this. It's going to roll out with a custom monthly overview template that's going to include a monthly dashboard. And also, and while we're waiting for that to duplicate, it's going to have an entire monthly dashboard and a monthly review process that I can dive into and dig into all of the details and basically follow, you know, the checklist of what I need to get done on a monthly basis. So here is where you will then see your tracking for this entire month. You'll be able to also break down your weeks for this month that are included for this month. And then you'll have a database that will load in all of the workouts that, you know, if you're mapping out your next month, you can map out all of your workouts for that next month. So that's a database that's referenced back into the body section or the body life pillar. Okay, then I like to have and map out my main objective for the month, my 4 key targets for the month, my monthly commitments, like any major commitments that I'm absolutely committed to. I like to have reminders, general reminders, birthday reminders, important dates. So they're all there in the drop downs. Once again, I'll explain all the details of how to use it all. Then, events. So I will have access and be able to see all of the events that I have scheduled in for this specific month. Obviously, it says note, update the date filter. So that's where you'd come in and you'd update the filter where its date is on or after July 1 and date is on or before July 31st. And then that's going to save it and lock in it's only going to show you the events that are set for July, okay? So there's a few things that you need to modify when you create a new template for each month, but it's pretty quick once you get the hang of it. Then you're going to be able to see the tasks that are required, that are scheduled in for this specific month. So once again, you'd come in here, you'd modify the dates, where the date is on or after. You're getting the hang of this now, hopefully, July 1st, because we're in July. And then I would modify the date to be on or before July 31st. And that will now save that will save both of these views for me. So now I'm literally just seeing the actions that are in July. And then once you do that, you can delete that note because now you've checked it off. Then you can also see like your weekly structure. I need to update this template. Yes, okay. With the sync block. And then you can also see your calendar view here with everything included from action items, events, reminders, important dates, birthdays, the full shebang. So that is your monthly view that you get access to. And then we've also got a weekly overview. So say that, all right, here's this week. Well, I need to come and plan this week out. You'd click on this. You would then click on the new week template to load it in, open it up, change your status to active. I'm going to revert that back for now. And then that's going to load in another template, which is designed around a weekly dynamic, okay? So this is where it's a very similar view to what you just saw for the month, but the weekly review process, which I actually didn't walk you through in the monthly one, but when you click on this is going to have an entire process for you that you can go through and execute upon and walk through that you can complete for your weekly reviews. So once again, a lot of people don't plan because they don't even know what the fuck they're planning for. So I've outlined it and laid it all out for you to really help you optimize your entire life across all areas and execute on, becoming a master generalist. And the way to do that is to be able to zoom out and look at your plans and your strategies on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, annual basis. And as you do so, you'll hit a rhythm and you'll really start to optimize what you're able to accomplish in the way that you show up, the way that you live your life, and the way that you methodically design it all and refine it over time. And that's what this is really key for in the General's Tent. It is continuous revision, where you're coming back in here to revise how you're setting up and designing your life and then optimizing for everything with a little bit of a different strategy depending on whether it's a day, a week, a month, quarter, or a year. So now to get into the last segment for this specific video, the overview video, I want to walk you through how to set up your missions and your goals. This is vitally important. So coming into your missions, this is where your missions are going to be outlined and mapped out. Now, there's basically two views. It's just a gallery view and a database view. So I personally really like the gallery views because I like to assign a photo to all of my missions that just makes it more visceral for me. It activates my visual complex and visual center, and it makes me want to spend more time in here because things look great and it's fun. So here's where you're going to see like your core mission. You're going to see the status of it, the current priority, the timeline in which you're wanting to accomplish it in, and then the referenced goals that are preloaded or like linked up and synced up to your specific mission. So if we come back here to all missions, well, you're probably only going to have a handful of missions, right? Because these are like the big long-term gnarly milestones that you're wanting to accomplish in your life. And your life is probably going to be dedicated to a handful of missions at a time. And I like to plan for anywhere from around like 3 to 10 years out for core missions. And here's where you can have some fun as well. So you can have like your core hardcore focus missions that you're like deeply dedicated toward. And then you can have some pipe dream missions as well, right? So for me, my deepest mission in life is to raise humanity's collective consciousness through education, community, and inspiration. This is the project of United Mind. And that's like, you can see here, it's like, that is my number one priority. So if I'm not even on track to accomplishing this, then it's like, yeah, my pipe dream one's like, being able to crack in somehow into Formula One, that's going to fucking take a back seat, right? So it's like, these are my priorities, and this is where you can start to really get clear on what is the most important thing to you in your life. And if you can find a way to pull it all off in the future, which I believe I will, that's where you can round out and have some really big, like long-term pipe dream missions in store for yourself. Now, I'm going to show you how it's all interconnected in just one moment. Anyway, what I want to just show you is the simple things of making sure that your status is up to date, making sure that you're prioritizing your missions. And if you're not really clear on what the priority is, then just put future, okay? And then term, anywhere from, it can be like, technically it can be a year, but typically your missions are going to be between 3 to 10 years out, okay? And then your goals are going to be more around like, I would say anywhere from 3 months to 3 years. And those are going to feed into your missions and help you accomplish your missions. Then you want to assign a life pillar, like what is it actually related to? And then you want to assign, like out of all the goals that you've linked up for yourself, what are the current goals that you need to set for yourself that's going to link into your core mission? And then projects will load up into the relation as well. So, and then you've got the cover photo that you can access. When you open up your mission, you're going to see like a brief planning outline for yourself where you can do a quick mission analysis and see like what the mission is. You can do an outline of the desire. You can do an outline of the deadline. And I go into a bit of detail when I'm planning out my specific missions, but then I go into more detail in the goal section because it's like, if I've accomplished the goals, then the mission will take care of itself, right? So then here in the second part, you can outline, and this is a referenced view of your goal database. And this is where you can start to come in and be like, okay, based on this mission that I'm trying to accomplish, what are the checked off milestones or goals that I need to hit in order for my mission to become a reality? Okay. So this is where you would outline that. You would get clear on the term and the quarter in which you want to accomplish that in, and go through like this entire process to make sure that you are getting this locked and loaded for yourself. Okay, that is missions, baby. Now let's show you how it's all synced up. So your goal database is going to work in a very similar fashion, okay? So here you're going to have two views. You've got the one gallery view, which is where you activate all of the visual complexes in your mind and make it quite exciting for yourself. So here, I'm just going to use because it's fun and it's my pipe dream one, I'm just going to show you how I relate my goals with my missions. So for example, you saw that one of my missions was to crack in to Formula One, right? And then what I have in my goals is I've got like goals that would lead up to that. So where's the first one? Yeah, so you can see here the first goal, which is like I'm wanting to optimize for and accomplish this year. This is a micro breakdown. Well, like in order to like even have any fucking wild chance at that, the first step is to actually obtain my international open wheel racing license, okay? And then the next step, in order to have any shot at advancing to the next level, well, I would need to crack into Formula 4 and just win like the US like the championship there, or at least place like in the top 3 to then be able to find and manage to find a seat in Formula 3. But in order to get to Formula 2, you got to do really well in Formula 3. So then you obviously want to like place top 3 there. Then in order to get to Formula 1 and have any fucking chance or even be considered in the slightest, you would need to absolutely be placing top 3 there. So you can see how it's kind of rolling up and leading up. And I've included that because it's just like probably the easiest example for you to pull from, to see from how it's like you break down the natural progressions and the steps towards your ultimate outcomes in your life. And then here you can see them all. This is going to be sorted by priority in this dashboard, so you can just optimize for, all right, all the goals at the top are the most important ones, and then the ones down here, it's like they're still like in planning mode, for example, and you're going through and you're updating your statuses, your priorities, your terms, and then you're assigning a year and a quarter to it. Like you want to timestamp your goals, and then assign a life pillar to it, and then you're good to go. Okay, so then what you can do is for your goals will also have a custom dashboard for you where you can click on New Goal Template, and that will preload in a template for you that will then load in your goal analysis. So this is like your initial mapping of your goal, what you want to accomplish. Then you're going to have your milestones, like what are the key milestone targets that you want to strike down and accomplish. So for example, you would have key number 1. This would be a milestone target that you need to hit first and foremost in order to progress towards accomplishing your ultimate longer term goal. Then you would outline an obstacle, like what's the core obstacle that's going to get in your way and potentially prevent you from accomplishing that specific goal of yours or the milestone target. Then you've got your counterpunch. So this is like Counter-Strike. This is where it's like, okay, based on my target, and then based on the obstacle that I'm most likely going to face in advancing towards my core target, well, I need to install a counterpunch which is going to offset the obstacle to ensure that I do overcome the obstacle if and when it arises, that to ensure that I continue to move through and advance and move through my challenges, and I don't just get completely fucking derailed in my journey towards accomplishing my key target number 1. Because if I can't accomplish my fucking key targets, well, I'm not going to be able to accomplish the goal, okay? So you do that for each, you do that for all 4. And you go through all 4 of those in this specific process. Then the strategy is the how. So this is where, in terms of the strategy, this is basically where you just set up projects that are going to help you advance towards the goal, and then you set up priorities. That's it. Strategy is just a byproduct of projects and priorities. So you need to get clear on what the core project is that you need to be working on and building and advancing. And projects are often going to be some form of system that allows you to execute consistently on key inputs that's going to go into your system and process to then deliver an output on the other end. And that way you can like measure it, you can refine it over time. And then you just need to get clear on, well, what projects and systems are of the highest priority, in what order? And then you focus on that relentlessly until you execute for long enough in order to see external results. So that is how strategy works. Strategy is not complex. You design projects that basically build systems and infrastructures to allow throughput of your inputs to be turned and converted into outputs. And then the final piece is you prioritize what projects/systems to build in order to achieve your goal most efficiently and effectively. Okay, so then your projects, I'm going to walk you through how to set up projects in your war map video, which is going to be the next module. So be on the lookout for that. But here's just a quick overview of what this looks like. Projects are set up similarly with, you can have like visuals as well. You can see what needs a review. You can see your future log. But anyway, nonetheless, here is a project database that you can reference and have access to. Okay. And then in the general's tent, what I like to do is, because these are all like the master databases, the back end essentially. And then when you come down here, I like to just have an overview of my roadmap. So this is where I clearly see the missions that I currently have in play that are active or that I'm planning. Then I can scroll down and see the goals that I'm actively working on or planning. And then I will see the correlation and how they roll up to the missions. Then I can see what priority they are and organize them by priority. I can see the dates in which I want to accomplish it by, what quarter I'm working on that specific goal in, what pillar it's associated with, and then what is my percentage progress toward accomplishing that specific goal. And then the projects. So then the projects is very similar approach to the goals and the missions, but a little bit more detailed. So once again, you're going to see the outline. You're going to see it in gallery view. You can then see like what projects are currently active that you're working on right now. You can see what projects are paused. You can organize them by priority, so 1 through 6. You can see the projects broken down by quarterly views, so what's being worked on in Q2, Q3, Q4. You can see your project timeline, your archive, and obviously like the project list of everything that you're currently working on at this point in time. So this is a way where you can it's a macro view, master database kind of thing where you can just see everything that is encompassing in your general's tent. So this is where, as I mentioned, the general's tent is for you to embody the master generalist and zoom out to be able to see the entire landscape, the big picture, to be able to look down at the battlefield and optimize for the current battle at play while also remembering what is required strategically to actually win the entire war. So you don't get too zoomed in and focused on the battle at hand and ultimately end up losing the war. I want you to win both. Zoom in for the battle that you need to play to survive, to thrive right now in the short term, and then look at how am I continuously advancing and progressing in all areas of my life. And you do that through the process of the annual planning, the quarterly breakdown and review process, the monthly review process and planning process, and then the weekly review and planning process, and then obviously optimizing your days and like getting zoned in on what do you need to do today to advance towards accomplishing your weekly mission or main door and outcome. What do you need to complete this week in order to accomplish your monthly outcome? What do you need to accomplish this month in order to accomplish your quarterly outcome? And then when you accomplish these quarterly outcomes, that's going to then enable you to advance forward and achieve your annual outcomes and targets for yourself. That is then going to help you accomplish your goals, which then is going to help you accomplish your missions and ultimately fulfill your life's purpose. So that's it for today, for this specific video. In order to learn how to master this system and learn it at the deepest level, to learn how to execute specifically on your quarterly planning, to understand that process, to understand how to leverage and execute on monthly planning, weekly planning, and also executing and customizing your daily habits and tracking system and how to get that set up and optimized for yourself, then go through the sub videos within this master module of the General's Tent, and I'm going to outline the rest of the videos below this specific video in the thread so you can continuously advance through those and get up to speed in a shorter period of time. Those videos will be much shorter and you can just like power through them and reference them multiple times to make sure you know how to use this template, because this is one of the absolute essentials in helping you succeed in installing this life management system, the Cortex, into your life and extracting as much value out of it as possible. That's it from me for this video. I'll see you in the next